Is this my new co-host? You're so handsome. Look how handsome you are.
Hey.
You're so... Oh.
Well, what are you guys talking about today, you and your new co-host?
Oh, let's talk about strange kinks.
Yes, actually.
I am your favorite daddy? Look, two cute puppies!
Who's cuter?
That's a trick question. Actually, it's kind of fun.
Okay, please don't. Oh my god, oh my god.
And popping it on the head.
Did he consent?
Yes.
Okay.
Hello!
Welcome back to
What's Safeword?
I'm Amp.
I'm Mr. Christopher.
And I'm Ein.
Who said that?
He was
Oh, Ein! What are you doing over there?
He's helping us. He's like kind of like murderously like, hello.
It's a little creepy. Don't be creepy.
Stop that. Well, he's got a smile on his face.
That doesn't make him less creepy.
And today,
we are being very curious because I've run out of kinks to try.
that's fair. You do have a lot of kinks. And I feel like every time we do one of these episodes, you find more.
I know. That's why I like these, because I'm like, ooh, I want to try that.
So today we are reacting, reviewing, and reading your curious secret kinks. So things that in general you wouldn't tell everyone, but you don't mind sharing in an anonymous form that does not keep anyone's receipts. We have none of your personal information. We can't even ask follow-up questions. And you guys continue to leave your curious kinks. So today we are reacting to a few of the over 2,000 now responses.
2,000?
Yes.
So there's 2,000 more kinks I haven't tried.
No, that's not what I said. That's not what I said. There's a lot of overlap. There's a lot of similarities, and there's a lot of things that, for obvious reasons, we're not going to share.
Yeah, that's the problem with YouTube. So what are the rules?
The only rules today is that we are not going to kink shame unless it's your kink, Brenda, and then we're coming for you.
Kink shaming is my kink.
This is all made in jest and fun, and last but not least, there are no follow-up questions.
Wait, I have a follow-up question.
No.
I'm gonna have several.
No, I just... And we should quickly just clarify kink versus fetish, because a lot of people in the survey didn't understand the difference. Kinks are things that are not vanilla.
Whereas fetishes are mandatory for that person to be turned on.
So there is a distinct difference there, and when you have a fetish that gets in the way of your, normal everyday life in such a distressing way, that is the only time in which we would say you might want to find therapy. So the first curious kink from our list that really stood out to me was a real heartbreaker.
It involves the heart?
Have you heard of a cardiophile?
Ooh, no, that sounds scary.
First of all, they let us know that their favorite musical is Hairspray because they can't stop the beat. You can't stop the beat ever since it... And it reads, I love to listen to the heartbeat during foreplay and playtime, preferably my own. I feel that I can't get off as well without some sound of a heartbeat. And so that was just one, but then immediately after that, I did a little Google search and I found another person in the thread that said, using a stethoscope on myself or a partner is a wonderful treat, or even just putting my head on their chest and listening to their heartbeat before, during, or after sex.
That I can understand. So like fisters feel the pulsing of their heart. It makes you feel very connected. I've also an aftercare when I'm hugging someone and like my arm is under their neck and you can feel the beat through the veins in their neck. That kind of is a turn on to me.
Very intimate.
Too. Yeah.
Personally, like for someone like me who's a little more squeamish about a lot of bodily functions, like if I'm sleeping and I start to like, listen into my body and I can hear my beat.
Does that scare you?
No, it doesn't scare me, but like I have to like turn over on my other side of the body because it's just like that sound makes me uncomfortable. So reading that was really interesting.
Sometimes if you put on a tight hood, your eardrums feel the beat of your heart as well.
Oh, see, that's so odd. In respectfully, because it's not for me as a squeamish person, but I get it. But what's really interesting when looking into it was cardiophiles or cardiophilia also encompass the osculation kink, which is listening to body sounds just in general. So that also includes the stomach, or maybe the back end.
So every morning when you're in bed with me and my stomach starts gurgling before my coffee, does that turn you on?
No, not at all.
Turns you on.
And there is even a little overlap with like blood play and medical fetish.
Huh. No, I like it. Let's explore that more.
I just told you it makes me uncomfortable.
Making you uncomfortable is a fetish of mine. I need it.
Please don't squeeze me. You can squeeze me though.
Come here, come here. I'm gonna squeeze you and hold you and hug you like my very own.
And heart-specific kinks showed up about 21 times in the survey, so it wasn't just one or two people. Beat it! Beat it! Okay, next kink. This person just said, when somebody really clenches their jaw and spits.
Oh yeah, I do that a lot.
I will say that during COVID, one of the weirdest things I ran into was spit talk.
There it was scary because it transmitted something, so...
On TikTok? No, it was a literal trend with a couple millions of views on a bunch of different videos where people were just spitting on their phone or were like humiliating and degrading the people. Okay, who's gonna clean that up?
Who cares?
But it was this viral trend, which, speaking of viral and COVID.
Ooh, can we do that on our TikTok?
No,
I can
no.
give you some good spitting content.
Would you be a spit top, a bottom, or a spit verse? Because those are
Yes.
actual things.
Yes.
Oh, all of the above?
Yes.
Have you ever been spit on?
Yes. I think it's hot.
Can I spit on you?
Yes.
Okay. Now, personally, I'm not one to spit on another person because I see it as like disrespectful, which is what some people enjoy about this. But
It's degrading.
yeah, and when there's consent involved, it can be hot.
It's very hot.
Yeah. Oral hygiene is really important if you're gonna get into it, and just making sure that you are feeling healthy. You know, that's a big thing, especially when you're spitting. But also, what I found, they recommended sour candy.
You have to have a good amount of spit. You're supposed to be able to do saliva, and a lot of people can't. A lot of people have dry mouths, and when they spit, it's like, "Pooh, pooh." That's not as hot. It's not as hot as a big wet.
Actually, well, you going puh, puh,
Pooh, pooh, pooh.
so hot.
Are you gonna sit spitting distance from me from now on?
Oh my god. Take that out. That was a bad spit take. That was a bad spit take. No, it's supposed to be more like. Oh, much better. Much better. Much better. Definitely.
Who's gonna clean that up?
Iron is
Iron.
also absorbent.
Thank God the camera's that far away.
I hope we didn't get any on it. If we did, I'm sorry, but also you're welcome. This one just went, getting turned on by your partner or partner being turned on is this never-ending Ouroboros sorts of sexual energy. And
I think that's very common.
yeah, I thought about that, but also like for me, I'm especially turned on when I see someone really turned on. Like you can tell when someone is just so beyond turned on. And for me, that's like this never-ending like energy.
Yeah, and if you're having sex with someone who's not turned on,
That's no fun.
Yeah, how do you continue? I don't understand that. Some people can,
Yes.
but I don't want to be screwing around with a wet blanket.
Oh, well, you're gonna need a wet blanket there. But I do want to make a note here, though, that you can't just tell if someone's turned on by like boner or fluids. Like, not everyone shows when they're really, really turned on.
Right, and this is why I say for subs, it's very, very important to make noises, react. If you don't react in a positive way, you're probably turning off the top.
That's fair. To that point, like, somebody thought that they were so different and curious and odd or weird, respectfully, that they had to let us know that, like, that was a kink that they had. And I think that that mentality and that attitude very much comes from not talking about pleasure when we talk about sex. Our society's very bad at it.
Which is a shame because sex is supposed to be pleasurable.
And trust me, there's a lot of things that are painful in these curious kinks because I had to Google them, and thankfully my Google person who's probably looking at all of my internet search data can't find any of that because of today's sponsor.
Surfshark.
Are you looking for kinky internet content 24/7?
Always.
Looking for support to make sure your internet data can't be tracked?
Always.
Trying to keep up on the most recent episode of RuPaul's Drag Race All-Star 7, but you don't want to have to pay for extra services?
Never.
No. Yes.
Always.
Yeah. It's a virtual private network, okay? If you'd also like 24/7 customer service and money-back guarantee in 30 days, as well as a sick deal, check out who?
Surfshark.
Today's sponsor. And the person who literally is making it so that I don't look like a weird person on the internet by Googling some of y'all's information.
I don't know if that's been successful or not.
No, well...
I think you still look weird.
Now, a geolock sounds sexy, but it has nothing to do with chastity. A geolock is something that makes it so you can't watch a show in your country, even though it's free or on other services in other countries.
So frustrating.
And I just used it to not only get past the RuPaul's Drag Race of it all and watch it from Ireland or the UK, but I also just watched it to watch the last season of Outlander, and Netflix doesn't let you watch some shows ahead of time.
I know.
It's criminal.
Well, yeah. Use offer code WATTS at the link down below.
You'll get 83% off and 3 months for free with your 2-year deal.
Thank you, Surfshark.
Now on to the next curious kink. Ooh, this one, I had to do extra Googling. So it starts out saying, I have a kink for being bog washed.
Bog wash.
What do you think that means?
Bog wash.
I've got more to say, but I'm sorry.
Like a bog. That's like a swamp. No?
Okay.
Yeah?
Swamp and ass could be involved. It goes on to say, I went to a boarding school and it was fairly common instances that happened.
They went to a boarding school in a bog?
No.
Is this at Hogwarts?
No. No, bogwarts.
10 million points for Gryffindor!
It goes on to say, I used to receive more than my fair share and I was one of the ones that was bullied. Now, over time I realized I enjoyed being overpowered and enjoyed the bog washing of it all.
Is it a swirly? Like in the toilet? Ah! Swirlies!
And someone really, really close to that also said, I love swirlies.
When you're peeing, make sure that you are actually in the toilet.
Getting my head shoved in a toilet and flushed is so hot for me.
It's humiliating. It's a power exchange. I get that.
It definitely brings new terminology to the term potty mouth. I get it. I get humiliation, degradation, and that kind of, what's the Stockholm syndrome? Like your bully or your person.
When you fall in love with them. Yeah.
It's a thing.
Waking up to say
Hi, gay.
I actually enjoy watching it. I don't like doing it because for some reason in the back of my mind, I always have this fear of hitting their forehead in the toilet bowl rim.
Oh yeah, the porcelain.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So
ooh.
your aim would have to be perfect with somebody's head, and that scares me.
Okay, so if you're gonna get into bog washing, make sure you have mouth guards, please. Put a little mouthpiece in. Safety first.
Yes.
Excuse me, Mr. Bully, 1 second.
So is this person from Flushing's Queen?
That's rule number 3, no follow-up questions. But
What if it's the nanny?
Mrs. Sheffield.
Anyway, bullies, not nannies, bullies were mentioned about 15 times, and it was very specific on why, how, and how the person liked to get bullied. It was very interesting.
Well, that's really hard to do, is be very specific with your bully. You need to do it this way to me. It's like doming from the bottom.
And we want to be very clear, we're not condoning bullying. Bullying's a huge, terrible thing. I was bullied a lot as a child, but if that's your kink and you're consenting, get it.
Bully for you.
So funny.
I got one.
This next one, Daddy, I bet you've tried this before. It goes, hi. Hello.
Hi.
It was very.
That's the kink?
It was a
Hi?
very no. Someone being turned on by a hello though, that'd be interesting. No, it goes on to say, I have a kink for being trampled by other guys. I identify as an asexual cis man, but I have always had the desire of being walked on all over by guys.
Yeah, I think that's pretty common, especially with feet fetish. And actually, that's very common in getting massages, having women walk on your back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crushing fetishes or squashing fetishes, whether it's a person that likes to or someone who likes to do it, is very common online. You see things like the cake farts where those women just sat on cakes. That was a huge phenomenon. And also, I guess,
I never understood, but yes.
thank you, internet. If you too would like to block cake fart ads,
Surfshark. Yeah, and so trampling while it's hot, you have to be very careful with the proportion of sizes, where you walk, and different body parts.
you have a bunch of internal organs and bones that are just, more sensitive. So it's very, very important to be careful there. But also, I was really curious while doing research. Do you think someone into like trampling is like always in a hurry?
Like on a treadmill. Like
Because I figured they probably always told the person to step on it.
oh, God. What's next?
The next one is especially topical for today's episode. It's called plushophilia.
Is this where you like to feel up plushies?
You are getting more astute, Daddy, as the episode goes on. And it goes on to say, plushophilia, which is basically the sexual attraction to stuffed animals or plushies. Everything about them is so nice, from how soft their fur usually is, to how firm and squishy they can be, to that new toy that What's a Safeword is now selling, and the What's a Safe... Oh! That last part I added. But this was actually a thing that somebody wrote in. And plushophilia, I get it. I get why people think that it's odd, but also like, we all grow up with stuffed animals as children. And a lot of us will rub and hump on things as we get older. Now, as always, you should only be doing philias and fetishes and kinks with actual adults, but the connection here of us growing up with stuffed animals is absolutely apparent. What are you doing to that poor stuffed animal?
I'm being a parent. So, and plushies give you that very comforting, warm, huggy kind of feel.
Yeah.
That's why you liked it as a child.
They help you to get rid of negative feelings, and even therapists agree that plushophilia is a very healthy kink because hugs are good.
I'm sure littles like them a lot.
Absolutely, and there's a huge overlap with not only furries, but littles, ABDL, and even pup play. A lot of playfulness there comes from those plushies. Also, ironically enough, nostalgia does trigger a reward sense in our bodies. About 20 people brought up plushies within the survey, and there was even some studies that was done that say that 44% of adults actually keep their childhood stuffed animals, and 34% of those adults still slept with them.
Yeah, and 50% of parents keep their children's room even after they've moved out.
Really?
No, I'm just making that up.
I was like, that's really fascinating. How did you get that information so soon? This next one will literally make you wet. It just goes, skin wet with water. I don't know why. I just really like everything being wet. Phew.
Huh, that's interesting. Like wet or moist?
No follow-up questions, but I bet if you did a spit take on them, they'd be real turned on.
See? Always have spit ready to go.
Ooh. That's what I love about kinks, is there's so much overlap there. Someone with this wet fetish, which I guess is what we're calling it, wetophilia?
Wetophilia?
Moistophilia. There's so much overlap in this thing. Like someone into the wet kink and someone into the spit kink, while they are both very specific to them, they can find an equal, like...
Common ground.
Yeah, and they get to enjoy it together. So...
Common spit.
Maybe just, if you're into something that's really curious or specific on this list, maybe think about ways in which you can leverage other people's kinks in a way that they can enjoy it, so you both get something out of it. Win-win. Save it. Not surprising whatsoever, the next one reads, I'm a cis female and I am only turned on by gay porn. I would rather read and watch gay erotica than participate in any other sexual activity.
Huh. So that I find interesting and true, because I've met so many of them that say that.
Again, our audience here on What's a Safe Word is about 50% female. Like, that doesn't include the non-binary and people that are in between. I'm sorry, Google's terrible. But when talking about porn and even gay sex, a lot of those questions do tend to come from what appear to be female-identified people on the social media.
And if you ever saw the movie The Kids Are All Right, the lesbian couple, they watched gay porn to get off.
Yeah.
I remember I worked for Cult Studio, and the studio that produced that movie asked us for some gay porn for them to watch.
And in a study of about 300 women of different backgrounds and identities, 68% of them said that they watched heterosexual porn, 53% said that they would watch lesbian porn, but 82% of participants preferred gay male pornography over all other genres.
Wow, really?
82%.
Wow, we need to produce more gay porn.
I wonder where that lives. This next one really tops the other ones. This one, it's a real condiment of kink. And it goes, I was once propositioned by a guy who had a serious mustard kink.
Mustard?
He then launched into this whole story about he had a babysitter once that, to avoid an accident in public as a child, she had him pee into a mustard jar at a picnic.
They had no toilets?
Babysitter was doing their job. Okay.
So pee in a cup in the kitchen sink like I do.
No, don't. I believe everyone that puts curious kinks in this, and there is studies to show that things that imprint on us, or even trauma sometimes as a child, can turn into a kink in such a way that we are able to work through said kink.
So then if this is a kink, how do they use mustard in their sex life?
Daddy, catch up. I'm trying to...
No, not ketchup, mustard.
You're gonna relish the fact that you're not listening. I guess the color of it, pee is also yellow, so there's like an affinity there as well. I'm not saying it's not possible, but wow, that is one of the most curious kinks I've had.
I don't know how you would use it though. Does the smell of mustard turn you on?
No follow-up questions.
Damn it.
And then it says, sorry, there was a line break there. Unfortunately, he died a few months later, not mustard related. Next kink.
Way to bring it down.
I didn't see the line break, I'm sorry. This next one says, casts. I just really like the cast of Friends. No, I'm kidding.
Plaster cast.
Yes,
I think what you mean.
It is. Casts. I find it really hot to see guys wearing casts, and it's been a huge turn on since I was an adolescent. I didn't know why they interested me at first, but I eventually figured it out. It was one of my fetishes. Though I still haven't had a chance to really do it, I'm really turned on by the thought of wearing casts, completely immobile and struggling during activities.
So it's just a different form of bondage. When you're in a cast, you're unable to move a limb.
But there's like a distress in seeing fingers or feet, poking out of them. And I get that. To this kink, I think it's important we always talk about, especially with fetishes, we're still respectful. Obviously, don't go for someone because they've got a broken arm or leg. Don't fetishize people that might have a disability or some sort of immobility. Like, I want to be very clear about that.
But this is also a big part of being immobilized, being an object, being furniture, being mummified. It's used a lot.
And I actually had a housemate once that had a dinner party where they mummified someone, and then they had this pane of glass that was strong enough, and they put it on top of the guy that was just on all fours mummified.
Like a table.
Yeah, so they had this dinner party. The guy was in a cast like all night.
Yeah, so he was in that position for a long time.
A long time.
And I remember dating you during that time because they had cut that off and the shell was in your living room. And every time I walked into your living room, I thought there was a person on their hands and knees.
It was an art piece.
It scared me every time.
Should also be noted in looking into this was that a vast majority of cast fetishists are not into the pain or the discomfort that causes a cast. Like, they're not into someone actually getting hurt. They're more into the distress of not being able to move, the hotness of a body against a cold cast, as well as just it's almost like a piece of clothing for them. Sticks and stones may break your bones.
But cast will keep you immobilized
Sexy.
forever.
Oh, that, yeah. Cast away. And then there was like the hobbling around, like not being able to walk properly. Some people found that really hot.
I love hobbling.
This one definitely doesn't suck. Well, it does suck. But I get turned on by guys, especially non-binary people, sucking gases like helium that change their voice. I mean, we could just add a filter on our voices right here.
Here to make it sound like we have helium? What would you say? If you want to degrade the person who's really into that right now and your voice is higher, ready? You're such a gas bag! Yeah, you like that, don't ya? Yeah, I do! I like it a lot!
You're welcome. Obviously be careful with gases that are inhaled, but that's interesting. But this next one took me a second to absorb. And it goes on to say, I have a fetish for sponges. So bathing with sponges, watching other men use sponges, clean things, squish on them, or even bite them. I just love seeing sponges.
So, like, if I was out in my short shorts washing my car with a big sponge,
I get it, though.
wet,
That makes sense.
Squeezing it over my head. Oh, yeah.
I use sponges for creativity, for artisticosity, and for all-around cleanliness.
And you know what? There was 2 people that was into this on the survey. So it wasn't just one person, because the other one said, I really like putting it in the freezer and chewing on an iced sponge.
Oh, wait, that's way different.
But no, they talked about their sponge love, and then they added that on there. It was
An
just-
iced sponge.
And you just put your finger, you open that hole up.
Like with water? Or like
Remember
tequila?
That? No, what?
I don't know. How do you bite into an ice sponge? Does it
know.
crinkle?
I can't tell you.
Oh, I
It's
know. I
probably
totally want to do
It's
this
a type
now.
of sensation play though for them, I'm sure.
I bet.
And it's just watching something change shape and size. I mean, it's like I get it, because like squeezing things, it's like squeezing things again.
Let's get Ein wet and freeze
No.
him. And then I'll give you an ice sponge bag.
I don't want you to use our merch to. Oh, that's not. Oh, yeah, right there. Oh, yeah.
I like that.
You like that, don't you?
I hate it now. You had to ruin it. And last but not least, this kink might be my new favorite kink. I have a teaching kink. The idea of showing someone how to do something, watching their eyes light up, and getting to then practice said thing with someone really turns me on. I don't really see much discussion on this kind of kink, but maybe that's because it just seems normal? Question mark?
Well, maybe that's why we have so many good teachers.
I mean, we have 300,000 subs over here on this channel.
So do you get turned on every time you do this?
I really like, okay, I don't get turned on, but I absolutely understand that emotional feeling of like watching someone like, oh my God, that's how you do that. Or, oh my God, this thing turns me on. I really appreciate just the depth at which it requires someone to understand themselves. And I think that while not sexy, it's very endearing to see.
And I'm the opposite. I'm like, I get turned on by going, why are you so stupid?
Daddy hates learning, so
I hate
it makes
learning.
sense. It makes sense.
Reading is hard.
Teaching other people is a very rewarding feeling, so I understand why when you get to teach someone how to do a thing, maybe a new kink, that's really fun. And something that couples and people should just do more often. But mentoring is absolutely a thing, and it's how the kink community passes on not only information, but skills and just terminology and tradition. So teaching is important, not just sexy in some cases, but necessary for our community.
And growth.
Yeah, and growth.
Big growth.
Uh-huh.
You like that, don't you?
You like getting that A+, don't
You like that, don't you?
Stop, please. Speaking of learning, I hope that you learned something today. That's our last Curious Kink for now. But if you guys want to see more of these episodes, the document is still open. It is still available down below. You can still submit your own kink if you feel so, like, vulnerable. And whether you're teaching or being taught a new kink, always have a safe word. And today's safe word, Daddy, is...
Squish!
Specifically in that voice with maybe a little bit of helium. Yeah, that's...
Squish!
That'll stop. Here, wait. Maybe I should give the safe word.
Squish!
Me?
Squish, 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 squish.
Ooh, that's kind of hot. So did you learn any new kinks? Any that you like legitimately want?
Yeah, I want the bog washing and the frozen sponge one. I think that would be fun. And whether you're getting wet or not, try today's sponsor, Surfshark, because sharks are wet.
Good segue.
Thank you.
Leave a comment down below if you enjoyed this episode, and just don't forget to subscribe, and we will see y'all next time.
Bye. So now that we're into spitting, do you want to do one more spit take?
Oh, sure. We're not spinning though.
Yeah, but you're cleaning this up if we do. That's pathetic.
Go, Lion, go.
Clean it up.
Oh, very absorbent.
Clean it up. Can I
Yeah.
stomp on him while he cleans it
Sure,
up?
you go for it, Daddy.
Yeah. Clean it up, you filthy little beast.
Oh yeah, thank you. Oh my God. Oh, thank you. Please give me another. Oh. Oh my God. Have you cleaned that floor recently?
Oh no, I am so dirty. Who's a dirty little plushie?
So if you remember the very first episode of What's a Safer, we had this little plushy corgi in the background, and to this day, people constantly want to get their own, but the original one is all sold out. So we ended up making our own little plushie that you can now buy at safewordshop.com, available for the next 4 weeks.
Ooh, only 4 weeks?
Yep.
No. Better hurry.
Should trample on over. Take your treadmill.
Don't trample your plushie though.
No, well, I mean,
unless you're into it.
That is a very safe way to enjoy plushophilia or just trampling though. So go to safewordshop.com right now, get your own Ein plushie, and just give him a nice big hug for us. Help me.